Greetings folks, and I hope you're all happy and healthy out there in collecting land, and welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today it's the turn of Hot Toys' take on Mr. Robert Downey Jr. himself as the legendary Iron Man, the Mark 85 Iron Man to be precise, from the 2019 Avengers epic that is Endgame, which along with Infinity War will probably go down in history as the Godfather parts 1 and 2 of superhero movies, in my opinion. And a fitting ending it was too to the 22 film story that had preceded it. So, usual formats folks, box, accessories, figure, then showcase at the end. But before we dive in, let's kick off with the usual shout outs to everyone who supported the channel. And please drop a like on this review and help other people find the channel. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of the good stuff that we've got in store. So, I'm not going to wobble on too much about Infinity War and Endgame. As regulars to the channel will know, in my opinion, the two films are the MCU's finest hour, and everything that's followed has varied from mediocre to hot garbage. So, in my humble opinion, this was the last great Marvel movie, and I'm pretty certain I won't see anything like it in my lifetime at least. But enough of an old man's lament for the death of the Marvel Universe. Onto the box. And pretty impressive box it is too from Hot Toys. Those who know Iron Man figures, the die-cast Iron Man figures from Hot Toys, will recognise this style of box. Rather than the sort of the clamshell thing going on, what they've done here is the styrofoam interior, which sort of slides out the side here, but the box itself is a really nice high-quality card. What you've got on the front here is this picture of the 85 itself, all lit up with this sort of red and gold colour effect going on. It's sort of super shiny. Well, it's a matte shine, if that makes sense. At the back there, you've got a picture of Tony about to do the snap. It says Avengers Endgame in this sort of foil lettering across the centre there. That foil lettering's continued with Iron Man, Mark 85, battle damaged version, and then all the usual bits and pieces at the bottom here, movie masterpiece, Hot Toys, and obviously the die-cast symbol here. The styrofoam being used in this box, obviously, these are very hefty figures, as collectors of Iron Man figures will know, and yeah, packaging them in plastic clamshells wouldn't work. So what have we got on this side? It says Iron Man again, Mark 85. You've got this gold foil Avengers symbol at the top and the Iron Man symbol up there as well. The thing that I'm not sure the camera's catching this, but the really nice touch on this box is that around both sides and the back as well, you've got pictures of various iterations of the Iron Man armour going right the way back to the first one, which is a nice touch. But yeah, overall the box is really, really nice. Around the back, usual credits and warnings as we always see on the back of a Hot Toys box. Don't piss this figure off, or it might accuse you of wearing your mother's drapes. As I mentioned before, this is a styrofoam inlay. We'll take it out and have a quick look. Obviously not a brand new figure to me, this one. Been in the collection since its release, but I thought it was about time it got the Go Figure review treatment. And if I can get this styrofoam box out on camera, what you've got on the front there is Mark 85 battle damage version embossed onto the styrofoam box, which is a nice touch as well. Not much going on the top or bottom of this box, it just says Iron Man and Avengers. So there you have it, that's the box. So without further ado, let's dive down onto the table and find out all about the accessories that Tony Stark brings to the table. Okay folks, so here we are down on the table with all the accessories that come with your Mark 85 Iron Man figure. We will start with the mundane stuff actually. We normally start with the hands, but I'm going to get the mundane stuff out of the way. Set of instructions, as always with Hot Toys figures, and I have done that usual man thing, thrown them to one side, but then actually pick them back up again because well, for reasons that will become apparent later on in the review, there's some features on here which are a little bit annoying and I needed some guidance with. But yeah, pretty much a standard issue set of instructions with that come with Hot Toys figures, the do's and the don'ts, how to insert batteries, how to articulate it, swap out heads, swap out arms, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, that's your set of instructions. So you get those. What else do you get? We'll take a look at the hands. hands. Now, not a vast array of hands. You've got one swap out arm, and then you've got a sort of a variety of other hands. You've got a couple of fisted hands going on here. We'll grab a quick look at one of these, and straight away, as always with Hot Toys Iron Man figures, it's the paint applications that strike straight away, and they really have nailed it on. I've got to say, got to hold my hands up at this point and say this is the only Iron Man figure I have in the collection. I know, to my shame. So I have got nothing to compare it to other than what I've seen of other people's reviews and showcases and so on. But yeah, the thing that struck me straight away is the paint apps, not only on the figure itself but on these hands. They really have nailed it on with the screen accuracy here. There are so many different variations of Iron Man. I just wanted the one in the collection. You can quite easily, you know, end up with a room just full of Iron Man, and that's not my idea of collecting. But yeah, the paint applications, back to the paint apps, really, really nice, really good sculpt. That gold is really nicely done. Obviously this is the battle damage version, so you got weathering on there, you got dry brushing and scratches and dinks and so on. Super shiny. The plastic, these hands. The one I've picked up at random here is obviously the blaster hand there. Fingers are folded over. They're not articulated or anything like that. But yeah, really nice paint applications, really nice sculpt, and some nice weathering on there. Same goes for the right hand. So you've got these fisted right and left hands. To start with, what else do you get? You also get these articulated hands. We'll take a quick look at these now. Those collectors who own Hot Toys Robocop figures and things like that will recognise the articulation in these fingers. So you see, it's actually quite nice. Little hair got in there. It's actually really well done with these tiny little joints on here. You've got 2 joints per hand here, which is really nicely done and great for posing and for expressive posing. So yeah, you've got those fingers. They're not so good for holding accessories, as we'll come to when we look at the plasma sword thingy shortly. But yeah, the articulation is really nice, and it's the same that same level of paint applications and sculpt on there with that weathering as well. So yeah, so you get a couple of those, a right and a left articulated hand, pretty much identical, obviously. You get the finger snap hand, which is sculpted in. There's no movement in there, so you don't have to try and pose an articulated finger hand into the snap. You've got the infinity stones on the back there, and some real weathering going on there. There's some sort of grey washes and dinks and burrs and scratches on there. Just really, really nicely done. Yeah, as I say, you've got the snap going on there, so you don't have to try and find that pose yourself, which would be an absolute mare with the articulated fingers. So yeah, that's snap hand. You get another hand with the stones, but this time with fixed fingers rather than snap fingers. Pretty much open palm. They're not articulated either, although there is some flex to them. So they're nicely done as well. And finally, you get this swap out arm. Now, once again, battle damaged here, all the way up to the elbow. So you've got pretty much the same hand as this one going on. But this one's got the articulated fingers, it's got the stones in the back, it's got all these scratches and marks on here with the paint applications to pick out the damage and so on. But what you do have on the back here is the LED light up function, which we will get to. Now, you don't actually need to put batteries into this arm. The arm itself, as you can see there, has got a connector in there if the light's catching it. So it will simply run off the batteries in the rest of the figure to illuminate it. But yeah, what will happen is these cracked sections here will light up, and the stones will light up on the back of the hand as well. So yeah, that's your swap out arm. You also get the 2 lobster claws. These are really nicely done. I've got to admit, the paint applications on here are the same high standard. The sculpt, the screen accuracy, it's all there. I think after the number of iterations of the Iron Man armour that Hot Toys have done, I think them dropping the ball at this point would be damn near impossible, and I don't think they have here. They've most certainly caught that screen accuracy with these, and these simply peg into the arms as well. And once again, you've got that connector inside if the light will get in there, and you've got two LEDs at the back of the blue section down the front there. So these will illuminate as well. And once again, they run on the same principle that the batteries, the power coming from the batteries travels down the arm and into the claws themselves. So yeah, that's your 2 lobster claws. What else do you get? We mentioned the plasma sword. We'll take a quick look at that. As I mentioned with the hands there, this is probably the only real issue with those hands. There is no gripping hand for this plasma sword. So if you're wanting to have him holding this, you're going to have to use one of those articulated finger hands, and they are not the strongest in the world. So getting him to grip this, although it's not particularly heavy, it can be a bit of a ball ache. So yeah, it might have been nice for Hot Toys to include a fully gripping hand for this accessory, but it is what it is. Once again, the sculpt and paint application and screen accuracy are all nailed on here. As I say, this is a figure that Hot Toys should be doing in their sleep, to be honest. But yeah, you've got this plastic section at the top here, this sort of semi-translucent section to indicate the plasma, and then you've got the internal sections, which are once again a plastic, but they've got that same red and gold paint application to give it that metallic Iron Man look. So yeah, that's your plasma sword. You get a veritable 1/6 scale lithium mine of tiny batteries. A lot of these haven't come out of the box, and once again I'm going to hold my hands up here. I do not use the light up functions on the vast majority of my figures, and most certainly not on this one. So a lot of these batteries in here are likely to be dead. I will attempt to cover the light up features when we take a look at the figure itself and in the showcase section, but I can't guarantee it's going to work. I do have some spare batteries. These are the originals. Chances are these will be as flat as a flat thing's flat bits, but we will give it a shot. And also included are a small screwdriver and a small plastic pair of tweezers for the removing of the aforementioned tiny batteries. So yeah, that's your lithium mine. You get a stand. Let's have a quick look at the stand. Nice stand, this one. Nice base, nice diorama on the base. I've got to admit, I do like this one. It's sort of this rock formation thing going on, and there's some nice silver dry brushing on there, and there's lots of different shades of brown and grey going on to give it that rock effect. It's just really well done. On the bottom it says Marvel 2021. This felt padded feet, which is really nice to see, so hopefully that's going to minimize slippage in the display. Can't see this moving around too much once you've got the half ton of Iron Man sat on it, but it's good to see that Hot Toys have put them on. And yeah, you've got rock outcrops going on here that are shaded, and overall the whole thing looks really effective. And I think, I mean, basically this figure, I'm not saying the figure's been designed this way, but the base itself, I would hazard a guess, has been designed with the snap in mind, and it almost looks, I mean, they aren't there, they're not being deliberately put in, but it looks like almost as though there's positions there for his knees and then for his feet to go at the back, so you can pose Tony doing the snap at the end of the film. But yeah, hold at the back there. Now, once again, I'm going to hold my hands up here. I don't think this is the right flight pole. I think I've got the wrong went to grab the accessories, and I think I picked up the wrong dynamic flight pole. I think this one is ever so slightly too long and slightly too large. I think this may have come from a Superman figure, but it gives us a general idea. Relatively straightforward, slightly shorter than this, but it's got the usual waist grabber at the top with the felt pads to minimize damage to the figure. I'm not a big fan of these things, tend not to use them in the display. It's not going to damage particularly an Iron Man figure because you're looking at hard plastic and a lot of metal, but a lot of material figures these things can damage, so I'm not the biggest fan of them, and I don't tend to have the vast majority of my figures in flight poses anyway, but it's an option, and this simply slots over the top. There's a screw in there to tighten it up, and it screws in the base here if it's the right size, which this one isn't. This is actually not quite thick enough to screw in, but it gives us an idea. So that's the wrong flight pole, but it gives us an idea. I tend to use this one actually. This is the one that I actually took out. If I am using the stand, which I sometimes do, sometimes don't, then I will go with this sort of individual crotch cup. I just think this is a lot better because, as I say, don't have him in them. I tend not to have him in those flight poses. But yeah, that's the base. Very nicely done it is too. So we'll pop that to one side. And the final accessory, obviously you get the Iron Man helmeted head. That goes without saying. But let's bring in the Tony Stark now. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, I own no other Iron Man figures, so I can't get into the huge Robert Downey Jr. head sculpt debate that went on for what seemed like eternity amongst Iron Man collectors about which is the best head sculpt, which is the worst, and there was the whole Tony Stank affair. But I'm just going on what I've got in front of me, and so let's have a quick look at it. And I have to say straight away, I think that is a phenomenal head sculpt. I don't have, as I say, anything to compare it to, so I'm going on what's directly in front of me, and I think that is absolutely nailed on. I really do. Where to begin with this head sculpt? Most people have probably already seen this, so it probably doesn't need an awful lot of explanation, but I'll cover it anyway. First of all, the sculpt, absolutely on point. Yeah, perhaps maybe just a little bit flattering to him age-wise, considering how old he was when the film was made. But on the whole, I think they've absolutely nailed it on. Skin texturing and tone, paint applications, absolutely on point. That beard is some of the best sculpted beard hair I have ever seen in my life. I think that's wonderful. It's got that slightly more gaunt look that Robert Downey Jr. got as he got a little bit older, but there's texturing in the skin there, there's multiple paint applications going on, and then you've got the battle damage, you've got this sort of high gloss wet look blood streak running down from the right eye there. The sculpting of the teeth is really, really good. Yeah. The hair, now, I mean, I think they've caught the hair absolutely spot on, because his hair was ever so slightly lighter. It changed tones, shall we say, without wanting to insult Mr. RDJ, but it changed tone over the years, and but they've caught it really, really well. There's individual strands picked out in there. You've got that front section that sticks up and it's got a slightly spiky effect. You've got the grey sections of the temples there where he's starting to grey. The eyes are I have to say, I think they're some of the best eyes I've seen in 1/6 scale figure. They are frighteningly realistic, and that expression really perfect capture of the snap moment there. So yeah, overall, if I was just judging this on the head sculpt, it would be probably coming out at a 9.5 or 10 straight away. I think that's great, but as I say, opinions vary there have been so many different iterations of Robert Downey Jr. by Hot Toys that I think there's one for every taste, but I like this one a hell of a lot. So yeah, that's the swap out head sculpt. So that's all the accessories. So without further ado, let's bring out Iron Man himself. Let's get him onto that stand, let's get him onto the turntable and find out what he's all about. Okay folks, so here he is. It's Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, in the Mark 85 armour from Endgame, onto that stand with the crotch cup rather than the flight pole, as we mentioned in the previous section. Can't give first impressions, obviously. I got this figure when it was first released after the long delay period. It's not my first diecast piece from Hot Toys. I'd had plenty of others. I think the first one I ever got was the RoboCop. But it never fails to impress me. Every time I get a Hot Toys diecast figure out of the box, it just feels like you're getting your money's worth, which sometimes I don't know, I don't feel that way all the time when I take out a 6 scale figure, a brand new one, but most certainly do about Hot Toys Iron Man figures. They feel sturdy, they feel well made, they feel engineered. In fact, I often think I've had cars that are worse engineered than Iron Man figures from Hot Toys, but yeah, the proportions absolutely nailed on. The colour, the paint applications, the attention to detail, the screen accuracy, it's all there. And it should be. As we mentioned before, Hot Toys have had enough practice at this guy. But we'll do what we always do. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. So let's stop him from spinning, get him off this turntable. And as I mentioned, hefty figure this one. It's got a lot of weight to it. It really does. A mixture of die-cast, a lot of die-cast going on. These legs are mainly die-cast. These panels at the top here, I believe, are metal. It's cold to the touch here, but it's winter, so I think the top of these legs are plastic and the bottom here is die cast. But yeah, straight away the paint application's absolutely on point, and the sculpting is fantastic. These feet have got these sort of split sections that will move in and out at the back here, and this section here, the sort of split area, will ride up with a little work. It seems to be a little bit stuck at the moment, but yeah, you've got a certain amount of movement in the feet here, but not a vast amount. There's a swivel at the top of the leg there, which can give you some sideways movement, but on the whole, not a vast amount of movement in these in the feet. The armour itself has got some pattern on the bottom there. They've sculpted in the thrusters, which is really nice to see. Paint application is this lovely crimson red, screen accurate, with beautiful shine to it, beautiful finish, just really well done. There's weathering on these on this lower leg section. There's scratches, there's dinks, there's even what looks like sort of mud spatter on there. If the light's catching that, I'm not sure if it is, but there's sort of a mud spatter on there as well. Moving up, you've got these knee joints. We'll check the articulation while we're here. You've got a double ratchet system going on here. It's a double bend knee, so there's a ratchet here and a ratchet here. Really sturdy ratchet, feels exceptionally well made. Obviously, we're not using any kind of stock body underneath here. What we've got is a purpose built around the armour itself, and yeah, it just feels fantastic, and it'll go right the way up to there, so there's a good amount of articulation in that knee. What really impresses me is that when you actually open this knee up, when it's closed like that and it's clean, it looks great, but when you open it up, what Hot Toys have done underneath here is create the sort of the armour effect underneath with that silver sculpted areas. So really, whenever it's when it's sat flush, it looks great, but when you open it up, you don't get any ugly joints anywhere on this figure. So super nice ratchet joints, feels fantastic and looks great. There's weathering and battle damage on these knee sections and on the thigh sections. Probably a minor niggle, this one, but yeah, maybe if I was to be super picky, the battle damage here could be perhaps just a tad more HD, but maybe that's just me being completely picky. But it's really nicely done, and there are dinks and scratches. There's more soil effect on here. The weathering's nice, it's there, it's not overdone, but it's just about the right balance, and it looks screen accurate to me. Paint applications are phenomenal. You get up to this the waist section, you've sort of got a ratchet stroke ball joint thing. It's a ball ratchet combination thing going on here, and there's plenty of movement in the top of the leg. It's a little bit limited at the front here, but as collectors of Iron Man figures will know, you've got these movable flaps, both front and back. So if you're wanting to go for a super dynamic pose, be sure to lift these up just to keep them clear and so you're not scratching the armour. I believe this section is plastic in the crotch area. You have got a bit of movement. There are 3 separate joints. There's one in the ab section, one in the chest section. So you've got a decent amount of twist, not a huge amount, but you can get some out of there. But as I say, exercise caution because you don't want to scratch it. And you've got loads of lifting sections going on in this chest area. There's a small one here which you pop out because you can actually lift this chest section off. And I will try to do this on camera without... Oh, there it goes. Nearly lost it. But yeah, you can remove the chest section there. You've got the arc reactor in the center there. Obviously, that's part of the light up features. But yeah, you've got this lovely sort of silver painted and detailed chest section underneath the actual chest plate itself, which simply just, he said confidently, clips back into place when you want it to go back on. Once again, lots of battle damage on this chest area, and the great thing about this is this figure is so sturdy, he will literally plant himself, and I can use both hands here at this point. You've got scratches on the chest plates here, like burns, more dinks, more scratches, dry brushing, and washes on there to pick out the detailing. There's even battle damage around the collar area of the neck, really nice to see. The arms themselves on a ball joint, so you've got a really good range of motion there. So yeah, you're not limited at all with the posing on there. These sections on the top here, they've got a certain amount of movement. The shoulder pads, the shoulder armour, and once again, you've got that super detailed battle damage going on with almost like different shades of red in there as well, and there's to look like burns, almost like it's glowing. And you can see sections of the armour underneath there that have been revealed. Really nice. You've got a limited bend at the arm there. Probably, you know, as you can see, it'll go up to about 45 degrees. Sorry, 90 degrees, but yeah, obviously you're going to be limited by the armour itself in terms of articulation, but not too much. It's actually more, the articulation on this is actually better than a lot of non-armoured figures that I've come across. But yeah, that detailing in the abdomen section, really nice. That gold and that silver paint application, just beautiful. Beautiful paint apps on this, I have to say. It's a phenomenal piece of work. And probably a minor niggle will be round the back. If I had to pick anything, I would say the battle damage on the front, not entirely HD. And there's a sort of, there's a little bit of a lack of it on the back. There is some going on. I mean, you've got some sort of mud spatter on these arms and a little bit around the small of the back area and down the back of the legs. But on the whole, not an awful lot of battle damage on the back. I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me. I don't look at the back of figures that often, but yeah, could be a niggle if you wanted to find a niggle. What else have we got going on? This head sculpt. Well, not really a head sculpt, is it? As such, it's the armour head. It's on a ball joint, so you've got a really good amount of articulation here. And it's all plastic, this head sculpt, as I believe most of the Iron Man figures are, so there's no metal in there. But yeah, you've got a full range of motion going on there, so you can have him looking directly up as if he's about to take off, or pretty much at any angle. So yeah, good articulation in the head area as well. You've got these two sections here. Now I believe these light up, these two sections on the shoulders and down here on the abdomen, as well as as possibly the ones over here. Not sure about these, but I know the arc reactor lights up. And herein, we might as well discuss the elephant in the room while we're here. And that elephant in the room is the light up features on this particular Iron Man. Now, as I mentioned at the top there, don't own any others, so it's the first time I'd encountered this. I mean, I've come across on numerous occasions Hot Toys' propensity for using thousands of button cell batteries in their figures to light them up, but I've never come across one quite as mind-bendingly annoying as this one, shall we put it that way. Talked about those little tools that you get in the accessories section. Comes with this little thing, which has got sort of a flat section at the front there, and then this sort of gripping section at the back there. Now, the idea with the light-up features on this is, well, interesting is probably a word that springs to mind. You need to remove the panel here on the back of each thigh. You need to remove the panels here and here on the back of each bicep. There's a panel here in the small of the back, and his helmet comes off as well. It's magnetically attached and the helmet comes off. I am not going to attempt to do this on camera because I've tried it once and I had to go and lie down for an hour or two afterwards. It is probably the most ridiculous system that Hot Toys have used here. These panels are really difficult to get off. The buttons are microscopic, as they always are with these things. It's 3 in each one. There's a switch in each one. So you're talking a total of what, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 19, 20 batteries. Yeah, the tiniest batteries in the world to get this thing to light up. And I would send a plea to Hot Toys, please, stop doing this. Stop doing it now. This is probably up there with Sideshow Collectibles stand issue as things that grind my gears at button cell batteries. It's 2024 and we're rapidly creeping into 2025. Yeah, there are other ways of making figures light up. Yeah, USB-C. There's wireless charging. There's a myriad of ways of doing it. This is utterly ridiculous and it's infuriating. The batteries will last no time at all, so you will be constantly swapping out these batteries, which is going to cost you a fortune, and also it's going to take you hours and hours and hours of fiddling around and taking the thing to pieces. So not only will you be broke, but you'll be bald as well because you'll have pulled your hair out. So yeah, But that's enough of my gripes about the actual light-up features on this figure. I think it's a phenomenal piece of work. Let's get it back on the stand and going for final thoughts. I'm just wondering if there's anything that we haven't covered here, and I can't think of anything. Articulation, really good for a figure like this. As my first Iron Man figure, I was pleasantly surprised that this thing actually was as well articulated as it is. Let's get this turntable spinning again. So articulation, absolutely on point. Paint applications, superb, as we've come to expect as Hot Toys have had so much practice. Screen accuracy, absolutely on point. Engineering is brilliant. I mean, I am super impressed with the tolerances and the way this whole thing has been put together. It feels so premium. It really does feel like, as I said before, you're getting your money's worth. I absolutely love it. I think the screen accuracy is there. I think as a representation of Iron Man in Endgame, I think it is absolutely wonderful, and I love having it in the collection. I really do. And minor gripes, yeah, the lack of sort of HD quality maybe somewhere in the battle damage, and maybe these should be a little bit more on the back, but these are personal niggles. Overall, this is just it's amazing work from Hot Toys. However, as I said, the elephant in the room is this whole battery situation. Now, it doesn't bother me. I don't display my 99.9% of my figures don't get displayed with the light-up features on. I'm not really massively into light-up features on figures, although I do make some exceptions. But on the whole, it's not something I will use, so it doesn't bother me that much. I will never have these panels off, and I will never put myself through that. However, if you are somebody who does like to use the light-up features, it's an utter ball ache, and it needs a better solution. Should that be reflected in the final score? That's a difficult one. I try to avoid things like that because but at the end of the day, it's an intrinsic part of the figure, and I've got to go on the whole package. So I'm going to take a point off for that light-up feature. If this thing didn't have light-up features and just came as it was, it would be a straight 10, an absolute straight 10. However, because they ventured into that area and ventured into it badly, I'm going to have to take a point off. I don't really want to, but I'm going to anyway. It's my channel, I'll do as I please. So yeah, there it is. It's a 9 for the Mark 85 from Hot Toys. So there you have it. I hope this review's been useful for you folks. Is this something you have in your collection? Do you have an Iron Man collection? What are your thoughts on the 85, the battle damaged 85? What are your thoughts on the MCU and where it's going? What are your thoughts on Endgame? What are your thoughts on anything? Please drop a comment in the comment section below. I would be fascinated to hear what are your thoughts on this. And before we zip over to the showcase, quick roundup of what's coming up on the channel. I'm not going to cover all the figures that are coming up because there's so much of it. There's quarter scale, there's 6 scale, there's retro reviews, there's new stuff, there's stuff from Pure Arts, Hot Toys, Susu Toys, Present Toys, Old Toys. The list goes on. We've also got more episodes of Grail or Fail, where we take a look at older figures, and more episodes of Don't Make Me Choose, where we pit 2 figures against each other. So stay tuned for that. Also as well, coming up on the channel will be the best of 2024, and that's so stay tuned for that, where we'll be looking at my top 10 of figures released this year. So yeah, mash that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing anything. And I suppose all that remains for me to say is a massive thank you for watching, and from myself, from Iron Man, take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.